What if I told you Karlach currently has 21 AC whilst just wearing her beginning clothes? That is how powerful you can set up barbarians to be in Baldur's Gate 3. Utilizing unarmored defense and a little bit of good old-fashioned cheese, you can get 20 AC at about level 2, maybe level 4, we'll say, ballpark it. And I am here to show you my early game Barbarian Berserker setup. This is what I've been kind of destroying the game with, and I'm going to eventually switch her to fighter because of the sword that I got for her, but let me showcase how I'm doing absurd damage with a early game Berserker setup. So to start things off, Berserkers get Frenzy in place of Rage, which will turn your Rage into a Frenzy, giving you Frenzied Strike and Enraged Throw. This is Berserker specific. You will also get half resistances to all forms of physical damage. Now, Bear might be a better option for later into the game because you get resistance to all damage, meaning magic and what have you. So I'll probably alternate it a little bit later on. But right now, it's really fun to throw a motherfucker into another motherfucker, I'll be honest with you. Because what you can do with Frenzy and Enraged Throw is you can pick up an item or creature and throw it at a target, dealing additional damage and knocking it prone. I have tried playing some solo Barbarian as well, but it's very fun to throw a goblin at another goblin and kill both of them at the exact same time. Couple this with the fact that you can also do 2 attacks in combat if you want to, with your base main hand attack action and your bonus action Frenzied Strike. You can start putting out some absurd DPS. To top all of this off, you can then use, say, Cleave or Lacerate on your weapons specifically, and then follow that with Frenzied Strike. You can also Enraged Throw your weapons as well, so you can throw like great swords, great axes, that sort of stuff. If you throw weapons with a fire enchant, it'll explode oil, that sort of fun stuff, right? But to get absurdly high stats, you want to set your Berserker up exactly like this. 16 strength, 16 dex, 18 con, 888. Now if you're playing as the main character in this case, you're going to want to probably choose between either strength or dex. In this case, we're going for two-handed. When I was running my solo playthrough, I was doing a finesse-wielding barbarian. Now, you can choose to go either way, depending on what gear you've got. But if you're going for two-handed, you're going to want to go strength for flat two-handed damage. But if you want to dual wield, I would suggest going dual rapier with high dexterity, and you can actually squeeze out higher AC. In this case, the reason that she has 21 AC is because she's using a sword that gives her Tears protection for 2 additional AC. Unfortunately, you can't concentrate on this whilst berserking, so she goes down to 19, but that's why I'm going to switch her to fighter inevitably. In this case, she's wearing nothing but clothing. Even the helmet is clothing, and the rest of it is clothing as well. The Bracers of Defense, which I believe will eventually be on the channel, will give you 2 additional AC as long as you're not wearing armor or holding a shield. Now, what makes Barbarian's unarmored defense so powerful is it allows you to add your con modifier to your armor class. Cool thing is, you're already adding your dexterity modifier over top of this, provided you're wearing no clothing, or provided you're wearing clothing, rather. So you wind up with a scenario where you stack your dex and you stack your con. If you can get 20-20, you get +5/+5 AC. It gets pretty stupid. That gets you to 20 AC, and then the Gloves of Unarmored Defense gets you to 22 AC. So, if you take your initial starting bonuses and you go Dex +2, Con +2, you wind up at, I believe it's 17-16. Then you take +1 in stats to go up to 18, and you wind up with an absurd situation like this, where I have 16 Dex, 18 Con, 21 AC. It is exceptional across the board. You could also run a shield and get rid of the Bracers of Defense if you want to, but that's no fun when you can kill absolutely everything. Couple that with her proficiencies being decent with athletics, so she can jump absurdly far. The coolest thing about Barbarians in combat generally is just how far they can jump. You can get in front of people's faces very, very easily with this, and the only issue is it does take up a action slot, a bonus action slot, so you're not going to be able to rage that same turn. But a lot of the time my initial turn won't actually be rage, since it falls off if you don't take damage. So what I'll normally do is jump at somebody, move the distance I can, and then pull out my ranged crossbow to get the extra attack on them. And then as they come into me on the next turn, they'll run into me basically, then I will frenzy, and start cleaving through pretty much everything, or throwing shit at people, or God knows what. Your alternative combat start is to Frenzy, run up as far as you can, and use an enraged throw with her repertoire of weaponry that I normally give her to throw, such as battle axes or great axes, and end combat that way. One final suggestion for barbarians before I leave you is going to be feat choice. Essentially, you have 4 options relatively. You can go for great weapon fighting, which is going to give you a action reset on kills. That's where things can start to get very insane, chaining through with your frenzied strike and what have you. Alternatively, if you are going the finesse route with dual wield rapiers, you'll need dual weapon fighting to be able to wield 2 large weapons, or 2 normal weapons, sorry, because rapiers don't have the light component to them, so you need that perk to get it. It will give you 1 additional AC whilst dual wielding as well, so you get that extra AC on top of that. Or you can go for +2 to stats and spread that out. Alternatively, you can go for a stat spread that is 17 con, 16 dex, and then there is a +1 bonus that you can get that will give you +1 con and full HP restore on short rest. It is absurdly good to be able to short rest and full heal your tank.